All right, guys. I just watched a video Dave Palumbo made. Luimarco is not proper. And in it, Dave mentioned that Luimarco has pulled down his interview, Luimarco interview with Dave Palumbo on Luimarco's channel. Now, if you saw that interview, and I watched it, Dave gave a few reasons for that he assumed the reasons for Luimarco pulling down that video. Number one being that he felt that if a network is going to cover bodybuilding, like ESPN, NBC, CBS, etc., and they wanted a commentator or they wanted a person in the know, if you will, that they would rather have a guy like Dave Palumbo versus a guy like Luimarco. He says it's upset Luimarco, and that's one of the main reasons, or the main reason, that he took down the interview on his channel, Luimarco. And it makes me wonder. I think Dave is right. I mean, I do think that Luimarco probably thought that he took that interview more as a debate, in my opinion, more as a debate and not just an interview. He wanted to win the debate. Luimarco wanted to win it, and I don't think he necessarily lost it, but I don't think he won. I don't think anybody really won it. However, Dave came in with a chip on his shoulder in that interview, and he kind of got some things off his chest, and I think that Luimarco not being prepared for that maybe was affected in the end Louis' decision to leave that video, that interview up on his channel. Now, in it, Dave talks about how Louis likes to be proper and not deal with people who use profanity, etc. Yet he went on another show and did an hour interview. Man, I forget the guy's name, but this guy's pretty harsh. I don't think he gets a lot of views, but very very outspoken guy from New Yorker, as Dave likes to say. But and that kind of stuff does not offend me. I don't really care what language people use. I swear, on a regular basis every day. Not a lot in my videos, as I said. So I don't care. Most people probably don't give a shit if people are swearing. Now you can cross the line, and it's just one of those things. But Luimarco probably, I think he's used to having his ass kissed by a lot of people, and he's got a huge following on the YouTube, and I think now that they're getting some controversy thrown his way, he's kind of in the line of fire, and he's having trouble dealing with that because he is used to a lot of praise, a lot of hey, you're Luimarco kind of stuff, more than likely. Now, I'm not saying I got nothing against Luimarco. It's all cool, man. I mean, shit, I would love to have his success, as I've said a few videos back on YouTube, and I'm sure I never will. But it is what it is. Now, when you're that big, you walk around with a giant target on yourself. That's just the way it is. You're gonna eventually you're gonna get so big, you're gonna be just a massive target for people. And there's no doubt that Dave Palumbo is using this Luimarco thing. He's gonna milk it for all it's worth because it brings him attention, it brings him views. So Dave's definitely going to milk it. I watch RX Muscle more than I watch Luimarco's channel. There's no doubt about that. That does not mean one is better than the other, because obviously RX Muscle has about 100,000 followers. Louis got about 500,000. So there's the numbers to consider. Louis been around a long time, but that being said, I prefer the programming that Dave, or the videos that Dave and RX Muscle put up. They're a little more informative, in my opinion. I think personality wise and entertaining wise, as far as speaking and listening to, I mean, Luimarco was pretty hard to beat that guy. He's perfect for YouTube in the fact that the way that he speaks, and he throws in his little catchphrases, and frankly, those sell videos. And he sold his personality just as much as he sold his knowledge on bodybuilding. And like it or not, Luimarco is a voice in bodybuilding, and that's just the way it is. That's the way it always will be until he decides to close that channel down, which I don't ever think will happen because there's just so much money to be made when you get to that level. He probably doesn't have a job. He's probably just a YouTube guy. So talk about, man, that'd be awesome. So I mean, a lot of people are jealous of that, including probably Dave Palumbo. So the whole thing is pretty interesting. I think that Dave's working it for views. He's working it for subscribers, and there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. So you can't fault Dave for that. However, at some point you got to just kind of let it go. It is what it is. Luimarco probably needs to get some thicker skin, as Dave said, as a few guys have said. There's no doubt about that. I mean, there are tons of people out there that are going to rip your ass every time you make a video. And when you get to that level, it only magnifies. So we shall see what happens from this point. I don't think Dave is probably done making a video, but Louis says he is done talking about Dave Palumbo. I don't know how that's possible when you cover the bodybuilding world, and Dave's one of the top figures in social media in the bodybuilding world. So we shall see how he avoids that. That should be very interesting. However, yeah, I mean, both these guys, I think Dave hides a lot of, I think he's probably more sensitive to things than he leads on, because that video kind of alludes to that. It's another response to Louis. So Dave's maybe kind of taking this stuff kind of personal too. Again, nothing against either one of these guys. I think they're both entertaining in their own way. Dave certainly has a book of knowledge on a lot of different things. Right? Yeah, anyway.